This is pumpkin spice bitch. This is cheap ass hoe. And this is Jess Paul. Spoiler alert, we're one and the same. Like the blessed trinity of bullshit. Last week, we spun on adulting. If you weren't aware, I'm a 30-year-old who has really only lived on my own completely for about 2 years now. I'm constantly trying to navigate the space between living in my comfy parents' home and living on the street. Honestly, if it weren't weird, I'd probably still be living with my parents. What can I say? I love my family. They probably wish I loved them less. And as a newly formed adult, I spend my days trying to find every way to pinch every penny and save every hard-earned dollar. Hard-earned as in I sit on my bedroom floor most nights and paint fake chocolate chips into foam cookies. 2 months ago, I decided to Google if there was a dollar store anywhere around me. Walking distance being important because I don't know how to drive a car, and I really don't want to learn anytime soon. I'm a different breed. Literally, there are some things that I would not buy anywhere else but a dollar store. And today, I'm going to share my list with you. And if you stick around to the very end, I'll give you my top 3 things that I would never buy from a dollar store. To kick off my list, I'm going to present you the 2 different categories that I'm splitting, things that I would never buy anywhere else but the dollar store, and that is just generally any personal items, and particularly arts and crafts items. I think that even if you're new, you get by now that I have some kind of creative business, and Halloween is absolutely my season of the year. First of all, anywhere that has an aisle for Halloween, be it even the laziest renderings of some kind of historical monster and or pop culture reference, I'm happy to browse. You might not necessarily take home the top prize at the costume contest, but when you have so little to start with, it only breeds more creativity, and I'm sure some of your fondest memories. Come on, guys! The next category of items, which I definitely will not be buying from anywhere else like an Office Depot, where you spend $9 on a piece of foam board, is office supplies. Some genres of retail just really do cost $1. I mean, this magnetic notepad that looks like a cup of coffee is absolutely adorable, but I wouldn't be dropping any major coin to have it. Here's the quickest review you've ever heard for a dry erase marker. I love it. Sometimes it comes down to experimenting. You pick something up off the shelf, you take it home, you use it, and you see if it was worth your $1. But really, what's the risk if it's only 99 cents and then you find a product that you feel that you can trust forever? I know I'm being really dramatic about the dollar store, but I feel like it's the epitome of capitalism. And really, when you look at everything that you would pick up from the dollar store, you begin to understand that they also fall into another category, and that is disposability. You're not going to pick up something from the dollar store that you think is going to last you for 10 years. Hey, maybe it does. But what I want to talk about next is just one of the ways that I help to keep my business afloat by shopping smart and shopping hard. As we move on to my favorite aisle, and that is arts and crafts supplies. Let's be clear about one thing. You are never spending more than $1 on popsicle sticks. At the dollar store, beggars can't be choosers, but you quickly start to feel an empowering resourcefulness when you start to pick things up and think about ways that you can use them. If you need yellow acrylic paint, just yellow acrylic paint, don't worry, they got it. You know how many glue sticks I go through a night? But I really just need them to seal my mold edges and make sure that all of my real food pieces are stuck somehow to the foam board. But it's the same thing with expensive hot glue sticks too. It doesn't discriminate. I eat hot glue sticks like a fat kid. I don't remember what I needed lollipop sticks for, but now I have them. This is where experimenting comes into play. Those paintbrushes, bullshit. But another set of paintbrushes that I found right beside them 2 weeks ago, amazing. Ooh, $1. The tool section so that you can build a table or kidnap some teenage girls. Come on, you know the backwoods serial killers are all getting their gear from the dollar store. But this is where the resourcefulness kicks in. Spackling? Mix it with some paint, you got fake icing. Crazy glue? Do you know how many times I tried to detach these headbands from my pieces because I made a mistake and ended up tearing the entire thing apart before I got the headband off the foam? That's quality craftsmanship there. And in the tiniest ribbon section that I've ever seen in a store, I found the exact color of rhinestones that matches the pink icing on my donut wand. But let's go to an aisle that is constantly being overshined by the penny candy aisle, the kitchen aisle. This is one place where I don't understand. If you are going to an expensive home goods store, not home goods store because they're also kind of questionable, but if you can get a simple measuring cup for only $1, why not buy 5? This is the aisle that has aided so unquestionably much in my fake foam food factory, because when you're working with the kind of chemicals I am, it's bound to ruin everything. So if I ever need something to mix, measure, or mold, you better believe that I'm going to the back of the dollar store where everyone knows my name. And if you're hosting anyone's kid's birthday party, you should not be going anywhere but the dollar store, where a kid could care less if everything that you buy is made of one-ply plastic. Because believe you me, your son's least favorite classmate is always going to be sitting at the end of the table, sticking all 5 of his fingers through that tablecloth, no matter how expensive it was. Dude, there are some name brand items in the dollar store. Are they like tiny gotcha sizes in the boxes or something? I tend to think that I'm safe when I buy a name brand thing, because if it's really so bad, then somebody will hold that brand name accountable when a literal no-name brand, no name, could care less. When you want to be sassy and quirky at the same time. But now I know that you've been dying to know the things that I would never buy in the dollar store. The first item I will never buy again from the dollar store is Tupperware. There might be some grandfathered in nicer name brand stuff hidden in the back behind a bunch of registers that I can't get past. It'll never close. It'll never stay closed. Whatever you want to put into that container, you might as well hand it out to the village, because that container is going to be open, and God forbid you put soup in there. I had to put a sticky note from the dollar store as well on my Tupperware that I knew that I would spill all over me if I didn't remind myself that this container just doesn't close. The second thing that I would not buy from the dollar store, no matter how tempted I sometimes am, because buying a lipstick just makes me happy sometimes, is the cosmetics aisle. When you descend down the ladder of the beauty industry, you not only recede in quality, but you also really compromise on the ingredients that you might be putting on your skin for hours at a time. But one instance where I might buy from the makeup aisle is when I'm using it for arts and crafts. For example, this compact that had a lid that fell off immediately is something that works great as a mold release to my food. Not only that, but it's the exact color that I need all of my cakes and breads to be. And body powder, another great mold release. And the last thing that I personally would not buy at a dollar store is the food. Now listen, I am a coupon queen at my grocery store, but when it comes to stuff that I am putting into my body and giving me life, giving me energy, giving me health for every day that I am in this apartment, I probably wouldn't go for the bottom shelf brands, especially because I buy a lot of produce, I'd grow it if I had grass, and I'm sure there are a lot of safety standards and regulations that any store selling food probably has to meet, but I was never really a canned corn kind of gal. You might be, and that's wonderful. This world needs a variety of all of us. How about you? Do you guys ever go to a dollar store? Do you ever, spend money? I would love to hear what you're up to down below in the comments, and the winner for the next time we have a show is Wrecked Radio. You know what I miss? I miss drinking coffee with you guys. If you didn't know, I used to have a live show, Quarantine Fridays, here on the channel. But because of either bad technology or a terrible Wi-Fi signal, instead of watching a live show of me, you were mostly just watching a really crappy slideshow. Welcome. Come in. Wow, is it gonna freeze already? So I thought I'd add a new segment to the show called Delayed Conversation, where I go to one of my social platforms, one of my social accounts that I talk to all you guys on, and have a delayed conversation. I basically read some of your comments on my social media, and then I respond here live on the show, and I'll be doing this as long as I remember to. Let's go over to my Instagram, which is This Is Just Paul, which you can probably expect from every social media handle that I have out there. All links below. And last week I took a photo shoot with my tiny pumpkins. I never was so inspired to take a spontaneous photo shoot than when I found these guys sitting at the grocery store waiting for me to adopt them. Mike Robb Jr. says, "When's the wedding? If you're marrying a great pumpkin, I want invitation." I responded, jumping the gun on the relationship. Our little pumpkin pies will be so adorable. When I did my last Rect Radio, I was talking about how much I was just hating, like, just looking at my own face for so long and nobody else's. And Strokes and Strings says, well, I'm so sick of my own face, I don't have any mirrors in the house. And I almost considered it. It sounded like a kind of a novel idea to not have any mirrors around. I've got all these different curtains. We can just make an Irish funeral out of it. And on this one where it looks like my pancakes are weighing down my head, Apathetic says, when you've been editing for hours and your neck be like... True, brother. Thank you guys for watching the show this week. It has been a busy week. To be honest, I'm actually going to be taking a little vacay, just a tiny one. This wheel spin that you just saw, it's going to be in 2 weeks. I have some projects that I need to catch up on that I literally could not find the time for if I didn't just stop doing one thing. As long as I have coffee, anytime is work time. I hope today was a good one. I hope tomorrow's even better. And this is my outro. But let's go to the section that I think so many times is shown? Is overshined? Overshined?
For God's sakes.